There's growing outcry around the suffering in Gaza as new reports and images from the war-torn region show children and adults dying from starvation. It's even led to some unity in the criticism from both progressives and conservatives, including folks like Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling out Israel's actions as genocide. This week, a group of Palestinian Americans gathered to remember their loved ones who've been killed in the conflict and to plead for humanitarian aid for those left behind. Senior correspondent Brenda Flanagan has their stories.
Israel has killed over 150 family members since the start of this war. My thoughts are all about the killing of the people I love.
Members of New Jersey's anguished Palestinian community gathered yet again, surrounded by posters of family members killed in Gaza. They spoke of pain and grief and demanded elected officials intervene as the worsening humanitarian crisis grinds on. All told grim stories of beloved uncles, aunts, and cousins starving to death.
That is his grandfather who died of malnutrition because Israel is blocking any aid, any medication, any food from coming in.
My family, alongside 2 million Palestinians, have been murdered, they've been displaced, they've been dehumanized, and now they are being starved by the Israeli regime.
Enough is enough. I'm tired of standing here begging.
Humanitarian aid fell from the skies over Gaza Sunday as Israel permitted foreign countries to airdrop packages. Israel Defense Forces said they would begin so-called tactical pauses in 3 areas to boost the scale of supplies entering the besieged Gaza Strip. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called reports of starvation, quote, bold-faced lies. There is no starvation in Gaza, he said. President Trump disagrees.
We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that. So we're going to be even more involved.
With one phone call, President Trump can end this. We need actionable steps from our government. We need our government to intercede on our behalf and say that we need to let the aid in.
I call upon Donald Trump and my New Jersey representatives to advocate for humanity and let aid in for the Palestinian people.
New Jersey's congressional delegation has called for increased humanitarian aid for Gaza, but shifting politics continues to divide them on ways to achieve a stable ceasefire. New Jersey's Council on American Islamic Relations praised Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, who recently issued a statement on the famine in Gaza,
where she calls the use of starvation of the Gazans as a war crime, and further calls for the immediate end to the blockade and the further restoration of humanitarian access and the enforcement of a ceasefire.
While Congressman Josh Gottheimer has said humanitarian aid must reach Palestinian civilians, he's also insisted that Hamas must be held responsible, stating Hamas has systematically stolen food and supplies from innocent Palestinian families and children to fuel their terror operations. That despite a U.S. government analysis that found no evidence of systemic Hamas theft of U.S.-funded humanitarian supplies. Gottheimer also criticized France and the UK for proposing to recognize a Palestinian state, stating that only rewards Hamas terrorism and undermines prospects for a 2-state solution. Meanwhile, Palestinians in New Jersey are being urged to get politically active.
Wake up, register, and vote. That's the only language that public officials listen to. If we stay nice and we keep going to these interfaith meetings, we share bread with them and everything, that obviously seems to have no effect whatsoever. So it's about time that we become active.
Every major human rights group, including Israeli human rights groups, have called this as it is, a genocide. Israel is not allowing food trucks into Gaza, and now all these families are being starved.
The community here says it will continue to protest, banging pots and pans at 7 o'clock every night to remind people here about the suffering in Gaza. In Newark, I'm Brenda Flanagan, NJ Spotlight News.